Good evening, everybody. It has been a little while, but we have returned. Oh. But we have returned. Welcome back to Anarion's Rest, a Homebrew 5e campaign DM'd by yours truly, featuring the lovely cast that I have around me. I am so pleased as Punch that they keep coming back for more. But without further ado, I would love to hear, who they're playing today, who they are, and maybe, usually we do one cool fact about their character, but maybe today we'll do one cool fact about the player themselves. Switching it up. Starting with, hello, Grunkle Phoenix, and welcome to the chat. You are just in time. But let's start, without further ado, whoever wants to step up and do it.
Hi, I'm Bob. I'll be playing Build a Stone Song today. Cool fact about me. Well, I have a dog sitting behind me right about there who is currently chewing on a Pepsi bottle. That's it. I started. Now we go in order. Which was Maggie next.
Why? Okay. I'm Jen. And I'm playing Maggie, the Furball Druid, Wildfire Druid, and bee aficionado. And my fun fact is that I used to be able to read and translate Sanskrit.
That's a pretty cool fact. Hard to top that fact.
It's a great job skill.
Hey everybody, it's me, Kari. You might recognize me from other places, but not too many. I will be playing Karis today, the Tiefling War Wizard. And a fun fact about me is that I have 4 cats. And they're all beautiful, and I love them very much. I'm also allergic to cats. That's what makes this more amusing.
Hi, I am Mare. I am playing your lovely Ardalock River today. My fact is I have 3 cats and I got one here right now. She's a good girl. She's sleeping. She's my stream buddy. Her name is S'mores, and she probably doesn't like you.
Hey everybody, I'm Confounded. I am playing Golaneth Laranonal, your resident rogue. Fun fact about me is I have bee dice called Maggie. See, it's a bee.
Hello, I'm Adam, or Adam Islamis on the internet. I'm playing Rue, and fun fact about me, when I was, 10, I was carving out a book to make a hiding spot for my Game Boy, and I really injured myself, and I still have the scar to this day. That's all. I don't know.
That sounds so painful.
But did it work?
It absolutely did, but I didn't really use it that often because I didn't have to hide it. I don't know. It just seemed like a fun project.
Everybody loves hidey holes and like secret passageways.
Absolutely, and I know I didn't give a fact. Hi, my name is Graham. Welcome to my channel, or Graham Crackers, as I am sometimes known as. My fun fact, my first ever detention was for reading books in class. That's my fun fact. The more you know.
Was there a Game Boy hidden in those books?
No. I had... Okay, fun. You know what? I'll stall for 2 minutes. I had stocked the maximum amount of library books I possibly could take out in a week, which was 10, and shoved them all in my desk. And of course, I didn't really like math because I don't like showing my work. I just like having the answer and then passing it in. And my teacher didn't like that, so they said, hey, Graham, you better pay attention in class because I can't tell if you know how to do this. And I was like, I'm not going to pay attention in 5th grade math because I don't care. So I would pull out a book, and I'd read it. She would take the book, put it on her desk, pull out a new book. And after, like, book number 5, she figured I've had enough of this. And said, okay, if I have to pull one more book from your desk, I am going to give you detention. So 10 minutes later, I go and pull out a book, and I get detention. And then it was an hour-long detention of reading books in silence in the art room. So, who really won?
Yeah, you got to read your book anyway, so.
Exactly.
At some point, dedicated time to read your book, too.
Yeah, the patience involved. Yeah. Having worked in schools now as an adult, I absolutely have sympathy. I'm just
I
like,
don't even know
it
why she
say-
cared at the third book. If you just kept doing it, I would have just let you. It's like, not my problem if you're not listening at this point.
oh,
Right. And like, what does it say about the school system that the punishment is to do a thing that you'd want to encourage your students to enjoy?
the punishment fit the crime, I guess.
You're gonna sit there and read all those books, and I'm gonna watch.
Exactly. All right, Luca,
Like
can you
my
go lay
mother
down?
making me smoke a pack
lay
of
down.
cigarettes and end well addicted.
Go lay down. I've got a pupper who wants to play. But without further ado, let's dive on in, shall we? It's been a little while, but bless you. But last we left off, let's get some mood music, huh? Where last we left off, the group of you had run over to the plains to the north of the Temple of Kavath, under reasonable suspicion that Ninos, Moonclaw, intended to attack the city itself at large, but also lead a bit of a ambush on. Oh gosh, I should have the names up. On Tethaton Stormclaw, uh, who had kind of set you on this path to investigate and to look into the dealings of Ninos himself. Upon arriving, a vicious fight was ensuing all over the city. From what you all witnessed, several districts and several of the clans were kind of holding their own, some in more dire straits than the others. Following, you ended up assisting Tethaton, who was in a heated battle with Ninos himself, and ended up actually slaying Ninos and shattering a magical mirror that had gnolls, an army of painted, bloodied gnolls ready for battle, before they could enter the city through this magical gateway. In the end of the battle, Maggie had turned invisible and vanished from sight, and I think that is where we are going to pick up, is right as the mirror kind of hums with energy. It was kind of swirling around the frame as the frame was being battered by your assault, and cracks began to show, and the mirror kind of exploded, and the shards became inert, just laying on the ground, scattered in a myriad of pieces around this frame.
Can I go around collecting the pieces of this mirror and just shoving them in my bag?
Of course you can.
Cool.
How much would you like to get? All of them, or just some?
All of them, if she can possibly do that. She's gonna make an effort to try and get all of them that she can easily find.
Sure. Roll me a investigation check just to see how many you can get.
Let's do it. Investigation is +7. All right, that is a 21.
A 21. All right. What is everyone else doing before I get back to that? Golaneth, where you last ended the battle, you were on the base layer of this 3-layered kind of wooden slope, or kind of plain slope. 2 Leonin troops lay dead before you. One female Leonin is kind of standing, who had kind of come to assist you from another fight towards the tail end. They are covered in wounds. You are fairly unscathed. But there are dying and wounded all around you.
I'm just going to take a quick minute to look around and take a quick inventory of my party and make sure they're all okay and see if I can assist any of them in any way. And at the same time, give a thankful nod to the Leonin that assisted.
Sure. They give a nod back to you. Roll me a perception check. I believe you would have seen the doppelganger of Maggie step out of this mirror for a brief moment before it was kind of battered away and destroyed. I think you would have seen Maggie vanish, who was right near you, the closest individual to you. So you kind of see Maggie. Maggie, do you want to describe how you turn invisible or what that kind of looks like? Or if there's
It
any
is
magic to it?
one flash there and one flash gone. It is as if you blinked and I had not stood there.
Okay. 14 on the die plus 4, 18.
All right, 18. Yeah, so Maggie, would you be... I know that you intended to kind of leave. Would you roll me a stealth check at advantage?
That's die at 20.
Die 20. All right. Golnath, you hear the sound of Maggie-sized footsteps about approaching towards your general direction for about 10 feet, and then you hear nothing.
Okay.
Probably at like a full run since she's taken the dash action.
But I see her disappear, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Then I'm just going to take a defensive posture, and I'm also going to see if I can't locate Ninos.
Sure. I'll give this one to you for free. No need to roll on it. Ninos was killed right towards the end of the fight, having kind of counterspelled and cast lightning, and then being set upon both by Tethaton, River, and several other of your allies. He quickly was kind of torn down and killed. He lies broken and bloodied on the top steps on the third layer.
Okay. And I'd like to make my way to Ninos.
All right, you may do so. Karis, around this time, you have set out to pick up mirror pieces. You are able to get about 3 solid handfuls of the mirror itself.
As a percentage, how much of the mirror would you say she has collected?
I would say about 40%.
40%. Cool.
The rest is either too finely destroyed, or because you were throwing a significant amount of magic on it, has just been blown into nothing.
Ordered, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's just nothing left. River, Rue, Beldis, the 3 of you stand on the middle layer of this battlefield. The sound of battle having kind of ended with Ninos' death. What are the 3 of you doing?
As soon as the battle has ended and Ninos has passed on, this because River still looks like a Leonin, still furry and tall, and he will just walk over to Fizzle, kneel down, and just give the good boy pets. Fizzle, you did great. You did a great job today. You're gonna get an upgrade.
Fizzle,
Muted?
Fizzle kind of, I think it's kind of like this weird mix of a robotic kind of whirring sound, like a hum, a pleased hum coming from within.
And I'll just praise Fizzle.
Fizzle has never looked prouder. As they kind of just nuzzle into your hand, and just kind of look up to you with those doe eyes, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Made him like that.
Yep. They know what they're doing.
I like that it's an upgrade instead of a doggy treat.
Yeah. I have no clue what I would give him if it was a doggy treat.
Boy, again.
Here's just like the nuts and bolts, just
Yeah, basically.
eats them.
Can we tell if there's like still a battle raging on in the city?
Sure. I'll give this to you for free. It'd be a DC 5, which I know you'll beat hands down, even on a 1. The battle is still going. Those who are unaware of Ninos being defeated are most likely still battling. You can hear the sound of combat. It does seem to be towards its tail end, both with the information that you sent ahead of time as you were going into this fight, but as well as the fact that the Ashpaws had kind of handedly solidified their center of the city and had begun assisting others per your direction, it is beginning to kind of funnel down. In which way you are uncertain, but the battle does seem to be reaching a tail end.
Because they're leaning, I get it. I think Rue would cast Goodberry and start like just popping them into people's mouths if they're, I guess, dying. And then maybe head back towards the city since this seems to be handled.
Sure. So there is one of Tathaton's original guard, towards the first layer right here that, at some point during the fight had kind of taken a spear towards their midsection and kind of been impaled and left to kind of bleed out. As you kind of approach, they look at you with this bleary, look, almost like a mix of a lifetime weariness and a struggle to kind of hold on, as you see their eyes begin to kind of lose that focus and kind of become that glazy appearance. As you pop that good berry in, you see a bit of that focus return, and almost as if pulling them off the threshold, you kind of pull them closer back to life, keeping them kind of held in the material plane and living. They are still injured, but you have secured their well-being at least enough for now.
Is the spear still in them, or are they?
You know, we could flavor it either way, whether healing pushes any ailments out or whether it just kind of heals and stems the bleeding. Either way, I would assume works. It is 1 HP, so we'll say for flavor that the bleeding seems to stop. So rather than bleeding out, you have just kind of stemmed that. The spear is still in them, but it's not going to cause any more damage as it's not being like pushed further in. It is just kind of set there, and you know, it's like the same way of like when people get shot with the arrow, they're like, just keep it in until you can get to the hospital, because otherwise you're going to bleed out. Same methodology, like you have kept them from bleeding out magically, and they are just held there, you know, stable. Maggie,
This is the apiary.
you're okay. So the apiary is, I believe, on the southern side of the. No, sorry, on the eastern side.
Way far.
Yeah.
Okay.
You are on the
You were
northern
saying.
side. The fire flowers are on the southern side. Yeah. Is that where you are headed?
Not now that you've answered that question. It looks like I have enough. Like there was a choke point to kind of get into this battle, and I can get out of the choke point with 60 feet of movement.
Okay.
But at that point, I would blink back into view, and I think a couple of things occur at once. And one is there is a huge battle still going on, and I doubt that she's collected enough to really get that it's winding down. I don't know a safe place to go. And I think she even has a moment of trying to like will herself into an animal form and realizing that she's too exhausted and doesn't have it in her to do it. So she hides wherever she can, like behind a bush, between a wall, just wherever she can hide. That's where she's beelining to.
Sure. You are. There are definitely some bushes. A few of those kind of Serengeti-esque trees as well on the plains. You're able to kind of duck down behind the tall grass or kind of even nestle down to kind of get out of visibility range.
Yeah.
What is going on through Maggie's mind as she kind of settles out of view?
Well, the vision that she was given from her doppelganger was to sort of flash back to it. Her leaving her family while something was happening to cause great harm, some illness, and going to a safe place with a few family members, and then discovering that her niece had gotten ill in the time that she was gone, and her niece arriving on her front porch. So I think she's playing scene after scene of those kinds of experiences over in her head as she's, nestled in the tall grass and hiding. And she's trying to just breathe through it and stop hyperventilating and not get shot or hit or struck from anyone continuing to be engaged in the battle.
Yeah. What is one warm memory that, I have one, but if you would like to narratively say, with the destruction of the mirror, some of these visions that you were shown, which were magically manifested, kind of begin to slip away. And I think even in the darkest of moments and the biggest of storms, there's always that glint of light. For Maggie, what is that glimmer that kind of shows through?
There is a cabinet in her kitchen at home in Petal Blossom, where she lives with her wife and her parents and now her niece and her 2 children. And that cabinet is full of honey. And the honey was purchased by her wife when her wife was courting her, as an excuse to spend time with her. Only her wife can't stand honey. So when they finally moved in together and they were putting their things in the kitchen, she discovered the cabinet full of all the honey that her wife had bought. And that is the honey that her wife has been slowly sending her jar by jar by jar on the path to where she is now. So I think that's what she thinks about.
Wonderful. And, I think that is the image that kind of stays with you as you kind of hide in this. Eventually, these sounds of battle kind of fade. Karis, can you roll me a wisdom saving throw?
I was about to be worried, and then my wisdom was like really high. So we're good. We're fine. I'm sure we're fine. That is a 18.
18. Oh, wonderful. So just as you begin to collect these, I would like to say this is probably just your experience of dealing with foreign magical items, is you just make sure none of it touches your skin. And whether it's putting on gloves, what have you, just kind of scoop it untouched and just kind of put it in a bag. Tethaton kind of stands up. From what you all remember last episode, Tethaton had been pretty wounded in the fight, but was still standing. He kind of straightens up and looks at all of you as he casts his eyes to the city, Temple of Kavath, and he begins to move forward on shaky legs. One of the nearest Stormguard kind of reach forward and kind of support him, and they begin to both walk towards you, with who he offers his nod, and he still is gripping his sword as it is very clear he intends to go back to the city to assist.
So I think hi Hanks. I think at this moment, once the mirror was shattered and everything seemed to calm down, Bell just kind of stopped what he was doing, put his hands on his legs, and just started breathing heavily, as that was a lot of shoving. Age has caught up, and the strength of the bull has finally worn off, and I'm probably winded. And I've sat there for, I don't know, a minute or two. As Tepperton makes his way down, I'll see their leader struggling. I'm just going to go quick. Stand tall for your people. They need you right now. And that is going to be a healing word at 4th level. For him. So that was 1, 2, 3. Oh God, those were good rolls. Too bad they're not for a party member. That's 9, 12 plus 3, so 15 hit points back to him.
All right. He stands straighter. You see that kind of war-torn weariness kind of fade, and a little bit of the life kind of reinvigorate him as he kind of straightens up and begins to move at a hurried pace back towards the city. He casts a gaze towards all of you. There will be time for talking when this is all over.
Yeah, have fun. Go. Do your thing. Do your thing. All right. Head count. Head count. Okay. Who are we missing? Who's here? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Who's missing? And I'll actually take my shield and put it like right in line with my face. And I'm just kind of going through this whole area. And I'm trying to find a certain tall individual before I start freaking out horribly that maybe something bad happened to them. Oh, look, I don't find them. I'm going to start freaking out here in a moment that something bad happened. Where's Maggie? Where's Maggie?
And Karis, as she looks up from her dealing with this cursed mirror, she's shoving that into her bag and like, where is Maggie? She's just like looking around.
Who saw her last? What?
Fizzle, did you see her last?
Dude, I was about to say, can I hear him?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
all of you are within speaking.
Okay, then I speak up.
Yeah? Where? What? What happened? Where is she? What happened?
I point at the tracks and how they are there and she's not. It's like, she's invisible.
She lost 4. Did that mirror take it?
No, she's
It
fine.
showed up. The other version of it showed up, and then it went. Karis, you have the pieces. Is Maggie in them? Is Maggie trapped inside those pieces?
And she just goes, no. Maggie can cast magic and probably did the... seeing yourself in a mirror can be freaky, especially when you're not expecting it, especially a weird mirror. But this one like stepped out and looked like it had intent. So probably she just like bugged out a little bit. Maybe she's close by. Let's just start looking. How about
Sure,
we all
she's
just
fine.
do a little perimeter search and see if we can find her.
I'm sure she's fine.
There, Hanks. Are you happy? Are you happy you're on camera now? Is this what you wanted?
Is this what you wanted?
Real life Fizzle.
Exactly, real life Fizzle moment. Delightful.
Yes. Okay.
So yeah, now that Karis has bundled all that up, she now surprisingly haunted by a tiny little cat around her legs that for some reason no people have not noticed thus far. Because reasons. It's small. It does what it wants. So Magoobliette is there and she just calls out, "Hey Maggie? Maggie? Maggie, it's over." Well, here it's over, not like fully it's over. Maggie?
Am I far enough away that I can't hear?
I would say they're probably calling out pretty loudly. You could probably hear it. Whether you choose to respond is up to you. But yeah, I think plains kind of sound is going to carry.
I think Maggie sheepishly kind of like crawls through the tall grass first and then like looks in one direction and looks in the other, and if it seems safe will like walk along the side and then like peek around where that choke point is and just raise her hand and then unpeek and go up against that wall or whatever it is. Oh my god, the dog. Oh dog.
Did anyone catch that? Did I have the perception to see her do something that subtle? Good question.
I'll leave that up to Maggie. If that would be visible or not. I'm not going to do a contested roll.
Okay,
He was
cool.
intending to be visible, so yeah.
Okay. It's like, oh, she's by the exit. It's fine. Are we done here? Are we good? We should probably get to the rest of the city. And then she curses because she doesn't have thaumaturgy. She has prestidigitation, but not thaumaturgy, which would be so useful right now. So you hear her muttering as she's like walking down the steps and that sort of thing.
Oh, thank the mountain peaks you found her. Okay. Okay, hey, I'm gonna sit down here for a second and just take a. I'm just gonna drop and sit.
Karis, as she's like walking by, just sort of doubles back and like goes, you okay, pal? Like gently pats your shoulder, like she's not sure how to do this. But she's heard in training that this is a consoling gesture and good for morale.
Wait, who was she patting their shoulder? I was looking at my spell.
Beldis, when she just sort of like,
Yeah.
she was walking by with the cat that just sort of stopped and saw him just drop and was like,
What's your passive perception?
Pat. My
Karis,
perception?
What's your passive perception?
It is. Ooh. Okay, it's 12. The passive investigation is something ridiculous.
You know lightning spells, right?
Yeah.
There's some electrical burns up around Beldis's neck now.
Huh. She sort of like leans in. So she like gets oddly close to like your neck for a second and like adjusts her glasses. So I don't know if Beldis would object to that, but that's what's happening right now. And she's like, huh.
What?
You got these lightning burns on your neck there.
Yeah, that happens.
Did that happen now?
Yeah, a moment ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Where's Rue?
Where's Rue? That's a great question.
Other good question. Is Rue gone by this point? Because they started walking.
I think if Tethaton was coming by, she would probably be like, "Hey, Tethy, scoop me up so we can get there faster." And then she'll like give him a level 1 cure wounds so he could carry her faster.
You know what? I love it. How much HP does he get back? I think it is wordless. Like, this is the kind of...
A D8? Oh. That's a big 10.
A big 10? Alright. So, yeah, as your magic kind of heals Tethaton, he scoops down and grabs you and begins to bound. His storm guard and his guard that are accompanying him, there are like 1 or 2 that are staying because 2 individuals had surrendered that were part of Ninos's pack, but the rest begin to set off towards the city, and he kind of grabs you under a paw. He still has his sword in the other hand, and he heads back towards the city, towards...
Can we say that Rue is on his shoulders and like holding on to his mane, like...
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Love that. All right, so Rue's
yeah,
there.
So you all see Rue bound off. Golaneth, you're the closest. You would see Rue, Tethaton, some of the guard head back into the city, back towards the fighting.
I think seeing that, Maggie's gonna use her last spell slot to cure wounds on herself.
What does your cure wounds look like?
I tap my chest with my hand, and there's like a sheet of flame that just slowly envelops my body and then absorbs into me, and my face starts to glow just a little bit with heat and then fade back.
I love it. River. What? So you were petting Fizzle. Is there anything you would like to do? You see Rue pass. You see Karis, Beldis sitting down. You see kind of Maggie popping her head out.
And all the Leonin are going back to the city?
All except 2. So there are 2 from the Storm Roar that are keeping guard of the 2 surrendered individuals that were part of Ninos's pack.
Okay.
That basically when he died, they said, you know, we know how this is gonna end when there's like 14 people versus 2.
Mm-hmm. I think after petting Fizzle for a little bit, River stands up and stretches like this with the tail flicking back and forth a little bit and surveys the rest of the group. Well, that was exciting. What are we doing next? We're going back and following Rue, or what are we doing?
We should probably follow Rue. And so she looks to Beldis and just has the hand on his shoulder. So you should probably, I don't know, wrap this up? Here, I'll give you a hand. And she just like gives him a hand to get
It's
out.
not my injury. It's not my injury. We're fine. It just looks ugly.
Like, that's fine then. We're good. Let's go. Should probably not lose track of.
Oh, but my back's still a little. That's all right. We're good. We're good.
We'll be fine when we rejoin a bigger group, probably. Most
Barid, you're coming with us? Yes, I'm calling
Exactly.
the Leonin that we saved earlier, who we gave a great sword to fight with.
Barad,
Oh yeah.
you know what? Yeah, Barad, this was probably maybe the first fight Barad's been in. But,
Never
you know,
mind.
he is still very visibly motivated by revenge. You know, seeing Ninos dead and seeing this city that he was exiled from burning, you see a look of complicated feelings. You see the processing begin, and then you see the visible look of someone shoving that further down. And he just kind of offers a nod, like a very gruff nod, and begins headed that way with you all, with the greatsword drawn, finding focus in battle rather than, you know, dealing with the mental anguish at this time.
Good plan.
So, as you guys are all headed that way, I will give you some options. There are 4, you have the Moonclaw territory, the Stormroar territory, Real in Sunfur, which is up towards the Temple of Kavath, that big open meeting area that you had kind of seen. You have the Ashpaw and the Starmains, and then you also have within the Stormroar your own, you know, the Magnificent Mansion. You have Boar, Brigitte, you have Malinik, who you had alerted when you were headed up. Where would you like to go?
Can I just check with the group and make sure this is okay with everyone? I think what would realistically happen with Maggie when everyone passes and says they're following Rue is that she would say, I have nothing left that I can do, and I am not built for war. I would be nothing but a burden. And then to the Leonid that we rescued, I will watch over the body of your partner and see that it is undisturbed. Is that okay with everybody though? Because then I'm not there doing much, but I don't have much I can do anyway.
If you're cool with that, I think Karis
Way cool with
object and was like, no, that sounds totally legit.
Yeah. It's just an in-character decision. Like I'm not wanting to do it. Just
yeah, exactly.
No, I love it.
Exactly. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I will 100% defend your right to do whatever you want to do.
so that's what she does.
Awesome. So y'all can go together. You can separate. Just let me know where each one of you. I'll go down the line. Beldis, where?
Come back to me in a second.
Okay. Okay.
So,
We'll go with Rue first then, because Rue was the first one to lead. Rue is really going wherever Tethaton Stormroar is going, to be
Probably.
fair. Tethaton is going to head towards the Stormroar locations, which is where all of you have kind of been housed since you arrived in the Temple of Kavath. That is his original goal, is keep the safety of his own pack and his own people as safe as he possibly can. So that is where he is going. Maggie is going to keep watch over Barad's dead mate. Golaneth, where would you like to go?
Ninos, that tooth is mine.
Okay.
he just casually like hung in the back and was like doubled back to the corpse.
Yeah.
Roll me a investigation check.
And as I walk off, I just say, appear weak when you were strong, and strong when you were weak. And would you need me to roll?
Roll a investigation check. Just, I assume while you're getting the tooth, you'd probably be scrounging over if there's anything valuable on his person.
16 on the die plus 4.
Dirty 20. All right. So, on Ninos himself, you know, you get the tooth, the gold tooth, easily.
My man.
Boar is going to be real upset when he has to pay you that 100 gold. But you are easily able to get the tooth. You find 2 rings of gold, and one is kind of embedded with kind of blue sapphires. It is worth 120 gold. The other gold band is worth 20. you find a small, like, I don't think you're proficient in Arcana. Correct me if you are wrong.
I'm not.
You find a small cylindrical, almost like tube, and you find a, let's see, a matching dagger to the dagger that was found within Ninos' house. Details on the dagger, it does seem to have some runes that are different. This
Okay,
one
the
seems,
runes.
so the runes are written in, what languages do you speak?
Common, Elvish, Thieves' Cant, but do the runes match the runes that were on the outside of the fountain?
They do not.
Okay.
But these runes are kind of elegantly engraved into the handle of the blade itself, that kind of curling dark leather. It seems reminiscent of some staffs and some rods that you have seen wizards in your teachings and your time traveling have used to use as a focus.
I'm time traveling?
No, just in
Oh.
your background.
From
You
the
have,
time you have spent
Yeah.
traveling.
Yeah. Yeah. So it looks like this probably has some inherent magical abilities or can be used to channel magic.
Okay.
And that's
Cool.
what I'll give you for free.
All right.
Then there are the robes that Ninos is wearing. Pretty damaged. Really blood covered too. Y'all messed him up.
Sounds like, yeah. Awesome.
But
I just take the tooth by the root and I just kind of wipe it on his soaked clothing and put it in my coin purse.
Awesome. All right. So that covers Gulneth, Maggie, Rue, River. Where would you like to go? Are you going to stick with the party, or are you going to go?
I think I'm going to just follow the majority. It's a very lackadaisical demeanor right now.
All right. Karis.
Which looks like they need the most help.
So, when you had previously headed up to the battle,
From what I remember, the ones where Starmane was not doing hot,
Starmane
and
was
Temple
not
was not doing hot.
correct. Sunfur and Starmane were not doing great. Ashpaw was doing well, and Stormroar was holding their own. You had alerted your allies to that basically Starmane wasn't doing well and to send help as soon as possible. As you're headed down there, it looks, I should probably do some rolls. One sec. Oh, okay. I didn't need to do the rolls. I could have just narrated it. Clan Starmane looks that help has arrived just in time. You see the Ashpaw warriors that had kind of defeated Ninos' forces easily. It looks like they arrived there and were able to lend their help during probably one of the most critical parts of the battle. And you see the temple itself is still kind of on fire, but not as large as it was. It looks like your warnings and the assisting of most of your allies were able to alleviate and to take that pressure off and really provide help. Stormroar's pack and his area seems to be mopping up. There is still some fighting. You can kind of see a few houses that the attackers had kind of forced their way into and now have kind of gotten stuck. And without any of the leaders, it looks like the Stormguard are kind of just holding their position. They are keeping their citizens safe, setting out the fires, and this almost well-orchestrated response to tragedy, I think, is something that everyone can kind of empathize with and understand, is that when this is a tragedy on a large scale for these people who have probably not seen something like this in a long time. And you see the various clans assisting each other. You even see some of Clan Moonclaw, like non-combatants that may have not been involved in this attempted coup, even assisting. You see several of them kind of gathering wounded. And, you see a few clerics wearing their colors healing as they are kind of all drawn together, and the few sparse forces are kind of held at bay. You make your way down towards the... Gosh, you'd think, having written all this, towards Boar and Brigitte and the defense at the tavern. To check on... I'm assuming to check on your wounded as well as Stormwar is going to be headed that way anyways. You see the tavern that rests right outside your quarters. It is broken and battered. You see the door has been kind of smashed down by hatchets and axes. The windows are kind of shattered. You see several tables, those Leonin-esque tables that were kind of the wider room for the chairs to allow for tails, have kind of been barricaded. And you see Malinik, the elf, is kind of slumped against a wall. He is alive, but seems to be wrapped in like a gauze from his right arm to kind of his torso. You see Boar covered in a dozen cuts on his Goliath frame, but he is very much still standing and, I think he's carrying like a halfling and kind of bringing her over for some assistance. Brigitte, you don't really see. There is a lot of people that are missing as you kind of enter this area.
I think what Karis is going to do is she's going to volunteer and get on her broom. And she's going to start doing sort of like aerial sweeps. So she's going to look for missing people. She's going to start spreading the word that Ninos is dead amongst pretty much people that she can find and announce that. If she finds wounded, she'll report their location to people who may not be able to get there this moment, but to let them know, like, hey, there's people here, they're trapped, or what have you. And she'll also put out fires using shape water.
Okay.
So she's going to help do that by basically doing a circuit of the city to do those general tasks on her broom.
Okay, sure. It'll take a few hours. Golaneth, it would probably take you 5 minutes tops to get the goods, so to speak. Would you be rejoining the party after that one? Okay. Maggie, you easily find the body that you had kind of reverently set out of the way. Still where you left it, undisturbed. You are able to kind of guard and preserve their dignity. No problem.
And I think once I can kind of hear things winding down and I see, like, I maybe even see my companion on her broom overhead, that there's some kind of central gathering in of people, then I would pick up the body and make sure that I'm taking a safe route, but carry the body probably toward where the tavern is, if that's where people are gathering, and just come and lay it down. If I see fires on the way, I can use my water hose / decanter of endless water to help with that. But for the most part, I think it's just like a focused, reverent walk with this body toward the tavern.
You absolutely can do so.
Yeah.
Rue, River, Beldis. Anything in particular you would like to accomplish as you kind of come across this scene?
Oh, this is a familiar sight, unfortunately. Tuck the hammer away, go for my backpack, pull out my med kit. Triage. Who amongst our caravan do I need to start looking at here quickly?
Sure. Boar hasn't been treated, but having traveled with Boar is probably one of those people that is like, I will be the last person in.
Boar standing and carrying a halfling or somebody with him?
The halfling definitely you could get to, though, that he is carrying.
Put that one down here, find me another.
Boar will go out and do so. and Bor will kind of bring people in from both the caravan and I think bringing in Leonin. I don't think there is a difference in response. I think it is anyone who needs help gets it. Can you give me a medicine check?
Absolutely. Thank God I have +7 in this. Because I rolled a 4, so that's 11.
11. That is sufficient. You are able to quickly triage and kind of assist. With the critical injuries, you take a more passive role, using your med kit and giving supplies from it to more skilled healers. For broken bones, for lacerations, you're able to kind of heal those. You're able to, gauze them up, stitch when needed. The simpler stuff, absolutely. And you kind of begin to hit this routine that you go through until the fighting is over, until there stop being individuals brought to you. Rue. Tephaton heads towards the tavern with you, quickly hollers to his guards who have kind of surrounded this building. It is not the tavern, it is probably a few buildings to the left that seems to be housing some of the attempted is it cougars? I don't know. Insurgents. Sure.
Cougars.
Yeah, the cougars.
Cougars.
Definitely insurgents. Is probably a better word.
Yeah.
If she's still on Tethaton, I think they would just cast Aura of Life, which lasts 10 minutes, and it's a 30-foot radius. If anybody's at 0 hit points, they regain 1 hit point. And then I guess if need be, she's gonna put out fires or throw down. I don't know.
Yeah. So you put up this aura, and Tethaton, now arriving, I think he hollers out to those trapped inside to surrender. That Ninos is dead. Whatever cause they were fighting in has failed, largely. And a brief few moments pass in which there is a uncertainty in the air. That it is a moment where two sides that are almost unwilling to trust each other have to take a first step. And 1 minute, 5 minute, 10 minutes pause with both sides, that kind of anxiety kind of building up of, are we going to have to rush in? Are we going to have to, storm this and potentially take losses? Your spell kind of bolstering and keeping them in, and the insurgents begin to step out and, offer themselves, the fight having been knocked out of them. And Tethaton kind of picks you up off of his shoulder and kind of sets you down very, very gingerly as his troops kind of begin to round up and, manacle, tie up. I don't know. But, a variety of things, I suppose. The insurgents, and he kind of looks down to you, and it has been a long night. A long day, really, for all of you, to be honest. Thank you and your companions for your assistance. I do not think that I would have lived or survived had it not been for your timely arrival.
Yeah, I just want to go ahead and say, we told you that was a really dumb idea to go out and hunt with this guy, so we'll just leave it at that. I'm gonna go heal some people, but you did a good job. Thanks.
You hear a almost throaty chuckle at just like the sheer gall you have, and he gets back to issuing orders, what have you, and after hours, the night kind of crests. All of you, kind of Maggie, bringing the body back. Karis dealing with the fires. River, is there anything you would have liked to have done? I know you were sticking with the group and kind of falling, if there hadn't been any combat to really get involved in.
River's not really the type of person to heal or triage, so I think mostly just, while everyone's rushing around doing their own thing, he'll kind of start running his hands through the mane of hair, and it kind of like gradient turns back blue, and the snout shrinks a little bit, and the tail disappears before taking a sit and just cleaning off Fizzle
Sure.
of blood.
Wonderful.
And cleaning off the bedazzled saddle.
Yes. The most precious item that is in Fizzle's possession.
That's right.
The night begins to come to a close. Combat largely ended. And Beldis, would you be working triage all night? Would any of you not be taking a long rest, or at a certain point would you call it?
I'd be long resting.
Okay.
All night, baby.
All night. All right.
They found me.
I need a mug of water, a couple rags, and get me a beer, a mead, a something. I just, yeah. Oh, hey, little one. Hey, tell me, have you ever had your fingers reset before? Quick. All right.
Oh, no.
I know it's a terrible question to ask, but trust me, you're better now.
Golaneth, Karis, Rue, River, would any of you be staying up?
I think Karis would have stayed up a bit into the night, but she would have probably called it quits probably around midnight, like exhausted, coming back to land near Beldis, sort of like stumbling off her broom after doing what she'd been doing, and sort of like dragging herself into somewhere of like, do we have beds? Do we have an area for people who are like not injured?
Yeah, I mean, there are still beds within the mansion itself.
Exactly. Do they have like a different area for like, well, people can use these beds. These beds are reserved like for like injured people, kind of deal. Like, do they have a setup? And she's asking Beldis. We're like, hey, you know.
All right. See my bag over there? Because it's now kicked off to the side. Wrapped around the bottom of it's my hammock. I prefer, see where that wagon, and I think I can string it up to that one over there. I think they're about the right space. Go for it.
Cool. And she goes and does that and is like, sure, man. And she then goes, wake me when it's my turn to tag in. And then she's gonna go collect her little goblin cat and crash in the hammock for a bit.
I think as Maggie heads to bed, probably before pretty much anyone, like first one, I just think that it just very wordlessly heads up to whatever room they slept in the night before. Just past Beldis doing all of this helpful stuff and just pat him on the shoulder and even sort of like grip for just a second, just wordlessly. And
hand up to match yours.
You kind of hear like a sigh, just of like, and then she goes up to bed and to sleep.
All right,
so that one right there, to whoever I'm working on, she's got this bee that hangs out with her, knows the good honey. That bee blows up. It is wicked cool. By the way, that's going to scar, but you'll be fine.
I would probably stay up a couple hours greasing up Fizzle's joints, giving him the upgrade that he deserves, and the upgrade is literally just making sure he works correctly because I don't have the materials to actually give him an upgrade right now. And then I'll go to sleep inside the little thing around his neck, the perfume bottle.
Sure.
For my nap.
And Golaneth, you only need to sleep 4 hours. So, would you be sleeping earlier in the night or later in the night?
Later in the night.
Okay. And Rue.
I think yeah, Rue would probably stay up with Beldis, and they're gonna actually start cooking. And with their chef feat, I think I can make up to like 7 special dishes that doesn't really say how much HP, but I think it's 4 each. So yeah, they're just gonna be making. They're gonna set up like a little taco stand and just like start giving them out to people. Um, and then she'll actually go to Beldis, kind of tap him on the shoulder and give him guidance and say like, if you wanted to be, I guess, inspiring or anything, now is probably a good time.
Can I inspire you to get a cup of coffee?
Sure.
Thank you.
And I think she probably got some coffee somewhere. She'll heat it up and come on back.
Take it, sip it as I keep going, and I have no idea what I'm working on, but I would probably have little great moments of, oh, hey, good news. This missed your heart by this much, so you're not gonna die.
Let me help you out with that.
Yeah. Will one of you roll me a flat percentage die?
Okay. 92.
92. All right.
Is that the survival rate?
That was me deciding whether I wanted to kill an NPC or not.
Oh.
So, the night continues on with some of you finding rest earlier rather than later. Golaneth, Rue, Beldis, River. You are still awake when Vadra, the leader of the Ashpaw, comes back to camp. Or at least home base, where most of the wounded are being brought. She is carrying what appears to be a limp body. It is large. It is a Goliath, and you quickly recognize Brigitte. She is covered in wounds from head to toe. And as they get closer, she is still alive. And what it appears is that she's unconscious, but stubbornly clinging on, as quickly Vajra deposits her in front of you, Beldis. And you see a little cub that Vajra has kind of been escorting, and she kind of motions. Your warrior protected many of the small ones. She fought bravely. Do what you can to keep her alive. I wish to spar with her at another date. And Vajra actually reaches into her armor, and there's a small compartment right near where a human's bicep would be. And she kind of pulls on the plate, and it kind of peels away, almost like a false layer between the metal and the flesh. And there's a small vial of red liquid. And she hands it to you, Beldis. You would recognize this as a health potion. You're an adventurer. You've all owned or used these at some point. This is a health potion. And Vajra kind of motions for the cub to go into the tavern.
What is the most critical looking wound on this body?
Most critical looking wound? Roll me a perception check with advantage. Or you can use a crit, or...
I have crits. I'll burn a crit.
Sure.
My dice rolls were good, but I have crits. I can burn them for this.
Yeah, any excuse to get you guys to burn crits.
Yeah.
But, so, the most critical wound on her is, it appears that she must have been pierced in the side with a spear. While not entirely fatal, it is very severe in regards. Most of the lacerations, not too bad. She's got thick skin.
Okay. So, yeah, pull this out here right. Quick setup here. So at this point here, I know what I have shaken off my armor. I am just down to my shirt and very basic stuff. I'm not wearing all that heavy stuff to wear me down here. So I'm going to take a quick look. Okay, assess the body, assess the wound. Yeah, that's bad. Let me help you with this one. And that's me casting Healing Word. And as that wound closes up a little bit, a little extra blood stain starts coming through on my shirt in about the same area.
You want to
Okay.
waste that healing potion? Because if you give me the healing potion, I'll just spend some spell slots on this.
No, I'm not wasting. It's going to good use at this moment right here because it's going to go. Oh, look, that looks like a torn rotor cuff. We're going to get that in there and
All right.
massage that
Up to
in.
you.
And then after that, I will take the healing potion. I will apply that to whatever maybe the next grievous wound or area of wounds. I'm assuming there's cuts, scratches, nicks, dings, armor bites, bludgeon wounds, broken bones.
All of the above.
Yeah.
She clearly looks like she probably fought 3 people by herself. And probably won. All things considered. But, winning and barely winning are a knife's breadth away from each other. And it looks like, luckily, this Goliath may live to fight again with your healing and with the...
I helped you with this one. They helped you with that one. And we're just going to clean up the rest so you can take care of those ones. And clean them up and stitch up and realign.
Yeah. And as you do that, Beldis, if you intend to stay up as long as there are patients, you will suffer a level of exhaustion.
Yep.
But you will be working through the night into the morning.
On it.
Okay.
Where is that?
Golaneth, would you end up taking a long rest, your 4 hours, at a certain point?
I'm going to check on Mal or Brigitte, Eldis, Rue, Taurus, River, Maggie, everyone that doesn't know it but means something to me. And I won't rest until I know they're safe.
Okay. I will let you pick who would you like to go to first, if you'd like to go to one of your compatriots.
Maggie, she seemed the most troubled and purloined from the day's events.
I feel like we'd probably be able to catch her right as she heads into her room and before she falls asleep.
I'd just say, not really in any manner of trying to strike up a conversation, but more of just making sure she's okay. And I just say, war and battle is a brutal thing. No one ever really wins. People just walk away. And then I just kind of disappear around the corner.
I think while you're speaking, she just pauses at the door frame of her room, listens, and just like slowly nods her head in recognition and sighs a little more, and then goes and closes the door, never having made eye contact.
And then with Boar, I'm not sure what the timeline would be when Brigitte comes up, but definitely if he's noticing that, I would immediately go to his side and offer a bit of support to him as well.
Yeah, I think that Brigitte kind of got brought in about 3.5 hours in, right around that time, that halfway point where you probably would have had the opportunity to take a rest. And as soon as Beldis has kind of assisted her, you come across Boar, his shaven head, his muscled frame And he is kneeling beside his sister, who I think is set probably on the ground of the inn, where it's convenient for any of the healers to get to her should anything happen. And he is holding her hand. And he is just holding her hand with that gingerness, that as if a person is made of glass and you don't want them to shatter, so he's afraid to do anything more. It's all right, sis. I'm here. I'm here for you. It's gonna be okay. Your brother's gonna take care of you.
And I just kind of put a hand on his back and just give him a quick little affirming pat.
He looks back at you and offers you a smile. That friendly, boisterous smile that you typically have seen him.
I'd kind of
And he kind of rises for a moment after, like, tenderly setting his sister's hand down, and he wraps you in a bear hug.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's enough. Okay.
Oh,
All right.
all right. My bad. It's, you know, you're such a good friend.
Mm.
And I'm just so glad you you told us to go help. Oh, I'm sorry, I got some blood on you, and he kind of starts wiping where he hugged you.
It's fine. I've had blood on me before, but everyone needs a little help every now and again.
Yeah. Well, I won't keep you. I'll be here if you need me. All right.
And so will I.
And he kind of almost goes in to give you another hug, and then, is like, I've learned my lesson. Then he kind of goes back to his sister.
She'll need your hugs. Not now, though.
All right. I'll try not. I'll wait.
And then I just go and see if Beldis needs anything or if Rue, and see what I can do to help anyone else out.
So, Rue making food probably at this point. Getting the taco stand, the coffee, anything that, is needed. It looks like Rue is kind of preparing and kind of building an atmosphere of, warmth, that this is a safe place, regardless of what has happened. The food begins to funnel out towards those working, those healing, and you kind of walk in right as Rue probably has whipped up a brand new batch of something.
I reach into my pocket and take out a small handful of salt and put in her hand.
Like, oh yeah, I nearly forgot. We stole a bunch of salt. We acquired a bunch of salt. Thank you.
We alleviated them from their burden of salt. They were so encumbered by it, it was the least we could do.
Exactly.
Also, now I want a taco, so thank you, Rue.
Yeah.
You're welcome. She'll kind of lean in and more of like a stage whisper, be like, "So did you get that tooth, or?"
I did. I reach into my coin purse and pull it out. Like, I just couldn't bear to show it to Boar right now. But I got it. But that Ninos, I think they really got it.
Oh yeah, they got it all right. I mean, I guess looking around, it doesn't look like we, saved the day, but we definitely did.
Well, you know what they say. You can't make a cake without cracking a few omelets. Eggs.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
All right. Well, just let me
I've
know
got
if you need
coffee here if
anything.
you need that.
Yeah, I'll take some. I'll run some out to Beldis as well and see how he's coming along with. Y'all are a great group of individuals. I'm not really sure how I got hung up with y'all, but I can't really say I'm sad that I did.
What's that? What do they say about luck?
It's found in salt barrels.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes you gotta dig through a lot of salt to
Yeah,
find the ones you're supposed to be with.
that's absolutely right. All right, well, those tacos sure do smell good. Sure are talented.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, take one. If you, I found out it heals for a D8.
Yeah, no, there are other people here that need it more than I do. Let
Well,
them eat.
well, take one and distribute it. She'll hand you a plate.
Uh, thanks.
Say, next!
Ah! Then I grab the coffee and the taco and head out towards Beldis.
Yeah. I think this is one of the rare moments where Beldis is not currently, bandaging someone up. Probably like a 5-minute rest.
I just
Sitting back in the chair.
I just come up and I put the taco in their lap and kind of nudge him with the coffee. I imagine it's such a pace that a little bit splashes on it, and he's like, you're doing a great thing here. Here's some coffee and a taco, and apparently it kind of heals you a little. I'm sure you could use some. If not, just feed it to one of the injured.
Think for a second about how I could shove a into a spear wound and decide against it.
Oh, well.
No, thank you.
Vertically.
Yes.
Shell first, otherwise it'll crumble. Never mind.
Yeah, it'd be. How you doing? There is something I have always admired about you long lives.
Oh.
You got a nap in, and you're fine. I am going to crash for probably 20 hours when I get the chance. And you take a light nap.
You've earned it.
Yeah, but that's just... How do you live so long and sleep so little?
These devilish good looks.
I like that answer. Those devilish good looks. They get us far in these lives, don't they?
They do. Ooh.
It's weird. Sitting here, patching up, sparing life, knowing I'm probably going to outlive every one of them. Knowing you're going to outlive them, you're going to outlive me. I have no idea how long Maggie lives. But here we are, fighting to make sure that they get the... I point to one of them just over there. You see that one? I guarantee that one was not even a cub when I left home to hit these roads. Maybe not even half that time. I have no idea. It is amazing what we see over the long years. And yet how strong some of them live in their shorts. It's just... Speaking of amazing, this coffee's good.
It is good, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's I don't think it's the length of life, but the quality of it.
Oh, without question. But how long before you left home?
Well,
how old are you? I can never tell.
A little more than 100. I've been around a while. But
Wait. You're telling me you're just over 100?
yeah,
You're just over a century.
yes.
Oh, for the love of God! I thought I wasn't the oldest one.
Well, that's how that goes. But in order to have left a home, I would have had to have had one. I don't really remember much of home. There certainly wasn't a home life.
That's fair. Well,
Only, well, before y'all, two people I ever really cared for. One of those I met in a bar fight, and the other shows up occasionally to give me things to do that no person should probably be doing. But we all have roles to play.
so your loves are, and I mean no offense, a barfly and your pimp.
Yes. And when I say
Not
loves,
the
I don't
worst
mean
story I've ever
loves.
heard.
I don't mean loves, but they're the only folks that I've ever been able to count on.
That is something. That is something. Oh Lord, I think here comes another. Yep, here comes another one. How good is this burrito when I shove it down my throat at once? Let's find out. If I die, Heimlich maneuver. Please know it. And I'm going to start trying to chow down that food quickly, too.
Do I know the Heimlich maneuver?
Yeah. I think every good adventurer knows the Heimlich maneuver.
Ooh, and I gained 3 hit points from that.
Hey, that's worth it. So, where would you go next, Golanath, as that kind of, as Beldis begins kind of being drawn into work once more?
I would go over to Karis next, and I would just say to her, I would tell her, thank you for guiding everyone so far, and that once things calm down and the wounded have been tended to, I've got some things that I would like to show her that I acquired from Ninos. Then I would make my way over to River and Fizzle, and I would just look at Fizzle, and I'd just be like, next time you need to harp on it, just hold, assess, reassess, proceed. And then I'd just look at River and be like, that saddle fits him well. That's
Yeah. I'm not
quite a
sure where
thing.
it came from, but it looks good.
It does. It really does.
Pretty good craftsmanship.
Yeah, the jewels are nice too.
Yeah.
The bedazzling. I think that's what the
what
cool
it's
kids
called?
are calling it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little bright for me, but it looks good on Fizzle, so.
I mean, they can roll around a little bit, muddy it up,
Yeah, it's
have
fine.
it well worn.
It is a saddle, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like a saddle.
Yeah, no, it's just, I mean, I don't know. It looks like a saddle. How would I know?
I don't know why someone would give him a saddle, but Rue can fit.
That would be quite funny, wouldn't it?
It would be very funny.
Just riding out, tossing good berries.
Yeah.
Be like a little Rue parade.
Rue can triage real quicker.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a plan to me. Maybe if I remember, I'll pitch it to them tomorrow.
Yeah, do that. Did you get one of those tacos?
There's tacos.
There are tacos. Rue's making tacos. I think
Okay.
Beldis almost had a chance to taste it.
I'll
A
have to go
dwarf
get a taco.
a dwarf can put some food down. I mean, I've seen dwarves and
No, I'll get a taco before I go to bed. I don't think I've eaten all day. It's all sneaking around and breaking into places.
oh, it sounds like a day of fun to me. But if
Yeah.
you're going to bed, don't try the coffee.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna drink coffee now. It's like
Mm.
what? Midnight? I'd like
Somewhere
to
around
actually
there.
get some sleep.
The coffee is stronger than the root of Ninos' tooth.
So it's like oil, just
Yeah.
keeping you up.
A little bit thicker. Pretty
It's gonna-
viscous.
Mare was gonna call it jet fuel, but that doesn't exist here. Thank you for the heads up.
Carriage fuel.
Carriage fuel, sure. I don't know.
Carriage fuel.
Dragon's blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go get
Donkey kick.
I'm gonna go get a taco. Do you want me to pick one up for you?
Nah, no thanks.
All right,
And then I'm just gonna make my way outside.
I'm gonna get a taco.
Enjoy that taco. They smell delicious.
All right. So, River. As you head to get a taco, Fizzle nestled to your side. Like the good boy they are. You hear the chiming voice, like running water from a relaxed stream. Light kind of ring from the device around Fizzle's throat. It is almost imperceptible to those around you as you are walking. My. Oh, how interesting. To be honest, I didn't really think you had it in you.
I think as soon as I start hearing the voice, is it where's the taco? Where do I hear in my commute to taco? Do I hear
Probably before you've entered the building. Probably you've like rounded the corner.
this? Okay. I think what I will do then is I will pop a squat near the wall, look Fizzle right in the eyes. Kadri, what are you talking about? What did I not have in me? You know who you're talking to.
Oh, I am dutifully aware of the people who I deal with, and yourself truly. But I'm just surprised.
At what part?
Well, usually, isn't it more your style to run away?
Yeah, but okay. It's hard to run away when there's a big old creepy cloud and we need something from people here to get through it.
I suppose that is correct. But you could have simply hid until this settled, or, you could have stolen what you needed and left on your own.
I'm smart enough to know that. Why didn't I do that?
That remains to
no,
be
you
the
make a
question,
point.
my dear.
Regardless, it's a little too late now. And also, I did have a couple things I needed to do that were very interesting. Did you know there's some fire flowers that I might be able to make into some items?
Oh, I am unaware
Probably
that
not
such a
for
thing
you.
existed.
I don't think it's your vibe, but I think it'd make something very interesting.
Well, do tell. Call my curiosity piqued.
It needs some investigation, but I think I might be able to maybe make something that can expel fire or maybe protect people from fire. I'm not sure yet. I still haven't had time to actually study these fire flowers yet, but promising.
Well, I look forward to whatever you create. You do make marvelous works for a mortal.
I haven't seen anything out of you recently, so.
I suppose that is fair.
But it's not often I hear from you. What do I owe the honor?
Oh, nothing right now, I assure you. But, do I tell them, do I not? Perhaps I'll tell you next time we talk. I'm sure you have such wonderful things to do.
I gotta get a taco.
Oh. Well, I won't keep you then. Bye for now.
I'll pat Fizzle on the head for.
And you just feel that presence kind of recede.
was a waste of time. Oh well. I will continue getting my taco.
Easy to find. You see Rue there. You would see Brigitte on the floor, Boar right by her side. You would see a few of the other the Maiden's Whisper, that have kind of taken shifts. You see some, Roswella is not to be seen, but you can assume she's probably in the tavern proper, handling stuff, as she does. But is there any particular people you'd want to interact with, or just grab your taco?
Grab my taco. Go take a nap.
You can easily do that. You grab the taco and can quickly abscond.
I abscond into my perfume bottle.
Yeah, you
like
vanish.
immediately.
Yeah,
in front of everybody.
Have we ever described what's in the bottle when you go there?
I don't remember.
I don't think we have.
Remember, I told him to fold
you looked
his
into
blanket.
it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Not that I don't want to hear it described again. Just I
That's true.
remember Maggie making that faux pas.
It's true. Well, it's like one of those old-fashioned like glass perfume bottles, and if you look inside, there's a lot of cushions and like blankets, a table that looks like there's papers and like ink pens and like schematics on it for future projects. It looks like a cozy little place to chill.
Wonderful. So before the night closes, there's one last scene I'd like to have, and then we'll go to break. Jen, if you could turn on your volume on Roll20, I can play it through Roll20.
Okie dokie. It'll take me just a moment.
No worries. I don't know how how loud it's going to be, chat, so I apologize in advance if this is very loud.
Okay, my volume level is up.
Okay, so Maggie, you are in your room. Golnath has left, and, the stillness of night is kind of all surrounding you when you hear this message.
Max, today I saw a flower. It reminded me of you.
Oh, no. One sec, we'll start it over.
No, play it for everybody, and then I can listen to it during the break
okay,
if you
okay.
want. Or yeah.
So we'll start it
Max.
over.
Today I saw a flower. It reminded me of you. I miss you. But I'm so proud of you. Sending you all of my love.
I still can't hear it. I'm sorry.
I can't hear it.
Oh, none of you can hear it?
I can hear it. It's
Huh.
just quiet.
All I heard was a dog barking.
That's okay. I will put it in the Discord for the channel so you can listen to it on the break.
Yeah.
So you receive that message. We'll go to break and then you can respond. How's that sound?
I will react quite a lot after the break, I'm positive. And I'm so sorry for my dog's incredibly timely barking.
Hey, no worries. All right, everyone. We are going to take a quick, let's say, 10-minute break. We will be right back. We're going to get some water. I hope you hydrate, stretch, maybe get a snack or two, and we will be back soon. So don't go anywhere, or I'll cry a whole lot. But we'll see you in a few. Hello, everybody. We are back. I hope you didn't miss us too much. So we are going to pick back up. We're going to let you have another listen to that message that we got because, I think you'll enjoy it.
Max.
And then, oh gosh. Technology scares me. All right, we're going to play it in 5 seconds, and then, we'll pick right back up. Sorry if this is loud, chat.
Max. Today I saw a flower. It reminded me of you. I miss you. But I'm so proud of you. Sending you all of my love.
Mags, the sound of your wife's voice kind of...
I have to turn on music or sound in Twitch, guys.
Wait, what?
If you have your Twitch muted like I do, you have to turn it on to
oh.
hear it, guys.
Well, I have sent it to all of you on Discord, so you can
Yeah, I
see
was
it
assuming
there.
that was just
Yeah. So your wife's voice kind of echoes into your head, magically.
Would I recognize this as sending?
Yeah, I would say you're like level 7. You've probably received sending, maybe not a lot, but you have maybe received 1 or 2.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess that that I know that that's a rare expense to be able to do. So I think the message back, I think first of all, while she's listening to this, she's sort of curled up on her side in bed, and there's this sort of combination of a smile and a tear. And she says back, my heart, I miss you more now than ever. I thought I could save all of us. How arrogant I was. Forgive me.
All right. Your response goes through. You don't receive another reply. But you do have the feeling that it has reached her successfully. And the night comes to a close for all of you. And despite the pain and suffering and the death in light of this tragedy, life goes on, and morning does come no matter what troubles you brought through. Beldis, you are still awake when the early morning sun rises above the plains. The city is a mixture of smoke, crying, but a semblance of order has been established. And the worst is over. The reverently placed dead is enough that it is a short account. It is line after line. But greater still are the number of Leonin and caravan members that you saved. And they are gathered here in this morning. Several of them picking up the bodies or escorting the injured back home to houses unburnt and unscarred by this tragedy. The next day is a mixture of rest and recovery for many. Several individuals, including yourselves, are given a break due to your contributions, and in light of your services, you are able to get a long rest in. You may mark off your exhaustion for those of you that stayed up.
Oh, sweet.
Later in that evening, Beldis, Barad approaches you, and Maggie, and the rest of your party as you are eating dinner. I don't have any family to come with me while I light the pyre. Would all of you
Karis is already like just nodding her head, thinking, "Yeah, she's gonna come. She's not gonna let him walk there alone."
all right, if any of you wish to stay behind, you are more than welcome to do so. But Barad carries his wife, or his mate, kind of wrapped in satin and cloth. And one of Stormroar's guards even accompanies, helping carry like the kind of stretcher, or a pall. And he leads you towards the southern cliffs that overlook that waterfall where Karis and River had found the fire flowers. You cross up the canyon and head up onto the plains themselves. And there is a small hill with a single tree. And it looks as if Barad this entire day has been gathering grass and dirt, making a circle to prevent a fire from spreading, but giving enough room and enough fuel to kind of light a contained pyre for his mate. And she is gently set down upon this pyre as the sun has kind of hit that dull russet orange glow on the horizon. And he turns to all of you and then looks at her. Our trails were short in the days that make up life. Many suns, both sunset and sunrise, we stayed as one. But as moons and stars drift apart, so too does the cycle continue. We will meet again when I join you among the stars above, my love. And he kind of takes a step back. The guard who had accompanied Leonin kind of says like this prayer that none of you understand, but it is very solemn, if not a little bit religious. And you have the feeling that you may have a chance to say something if you wish.
As we're walking to the pyre, can I use Speech of Beast and Leaf and actually call on the creatures of this area to pay homage and witness?
Of course. You see, a family of hares kind of in the undergrowth watching. You see some bees. You see Phoebe, the bee who escorted you, is kind of hovering nearby. Maybe like 3 or 4 of them. And you see a few other birds kind of circling, as well as some various other animals that have kind of just watched and are just there.
I think Karis, if given the opportunity, would approach the pyre and lay one of the fire flowers that she gathered for herself, like part of her stash, and she'd lay it on the body, and she would speak very softly, like just to the pyre and the body, so like not really loud enough for others to hear. But I'm sure someone can do a listen check at an appropriate DC if they want to hear what it is. But she would say that very solemnly and then step back. Before that, she would offer, like, if you need a flame, I'll have it ready. And she like makes a gesture with her hand, and then she would go step back.
Barad will nod and, wait for...
Yeah, exactly.
want to check, but I don't want to break the flow. So can I check after?
Sure.
Okay.
As we made our way over, Beldis quickly dug through his bag, and at the very bottom of his bag, in a sealed leather wrap, he pulled out his ceremonial sash, threw it over his shoulders, similar to this. This is the first very clean thing that you've probably all seen Beldis actually wear. This is, and there are a variety of runes and just stories actually written on it through.
Hey, I lore check whatever this is.
You can.
Cool. I'll do that later too.
Okay. So when I feel the time's right, I'll approach and say, "Okay, gotta readjust." Many times before in our old kingdom, we suffered a great tragedy, almost as great as the one you spit today. If it's to you, if you would like, I would like to play the song that we sang for those who passed at that time.
He will offer a nod.
Excellent. And if I was more prepared for this and knew how to do the roll 20 thing, I could play the music right now, but I can't.
No
and I
worries.
pull out my flute, which again is also in a very seemingly very well kept case that also Beldis does not play frequently. And I will start playing as I have it titled, the Song of the Allied Exiles. It is a long, slow song, very mournful, with a hint of respect to it. I don't know how to describe flute playing any better than that. So. And then with that, I will stay there until when the song ends. I will just simply stand there, hands across my front, until the pyre is extinguished.
Golanathru, anything you would like to do?
I would
Yeah.
just remain silent.
Yeah, not really sure like what deity this person subscribes to. Rue's just kind of gonna hang back.
That's fair. I will tell you this, and Rue, any prayer made to a good aligned deity, from your perspective as a cleric, will reach that deity, even if you are not particularly. For instance, a undevout person that is doing good, even if they are not in the service of a good deity, still benefits the deity, and the deity still notices at the end of the day. So, you do, with your religion check from earlier, you do know that Nabanian is a chaotic good god and is goodly aligned. So, if you did want to make a prayer, generally, you have a good feeling it would get where it needs to be.
Okay, yeah. She would normally do something a little more, not extreme, but different, but she'll just pop a good berry in her mouth and say a little prayer.
Sure, you do so, and Barad kind of moves to the pyre, plants a furry kiss on the brow of his mate, steps back and kind of nods to you, Karis.
Right, and with the signal, she makes the complex somatic hand gestures, and with a like whoosh, there is a bolt of fire and strikes the pyre alight.
The pyre lights, and the smoke billows into the night, and Barad lets out a mournful lion cry. It is not something I as a human can recreate, but it echoes. It is rich with grief and sorrow, and the Leonin guard who helped bring him here echoes that cry. And then from over the city, you hear one after another as many Leonin call out into the night, signaling that they are not alone in their grief. After a while, when there's nothing left but ashes, the night comes to an end and you are able to return.
And you see Galanath put his foot up, and anybody that's paying attention might be able to see a single tear.
I would like to roll both to know what Karis said and also to notice the tear.
Sure. All right. So, Karis, what DC would you think is acceptable? I was gonna say like DC 14.
Sure, that works.
Perception?
Yeah. For what Karis said, and then Golneth, what do you think is a fair DC for noticing the tear?
Since the tear fell before I put the hood of the cloak on, we'll just keep it a 14 also.
Okay.
All right, for Karis. Yeah, that is a 25.
So you sure do hear her as she lowly spoke directly, very frankly, it seems, to the corpse of this Leonin woman of, I don't know what crimes you or your mate may have committed, but they did not deserve the reward of such a quick and cruel death. And untimely death added there, better worded than I can do offhand. But that's essentially what she says. It's, may you find peace in the afterlife, and may your mate and all your other loved ones join you there.
No sign, she doesn't show any sign that she heard it. For Galanath, I actually did not roll a 14, so I did not notice the tear. But with Karis, as we leave, Maggie will kind of come up to her and say, shall we see that Barad is reinstated into his clan, given all that has transpired?
I don't think it would be terribly difficult to arrange at this point. They need people. It's proven that he was coerced and has lost, and he proved himself in the battle afterward. I don't think they would take much convincing. Especially with us vouching for them.
Well, and you are good at talking to people, so you should maybe do that.
Do we know what clan he's from?
I don't think we know.
Nope, you don't.
Karis just files in a waiver when she's gonna talk to like the Sunroar guy, because he's the leader, he knows things. So she'd mention and probably describe Barad of like he was banished, whatever.
Yeah.
Reinstate him or tell me who I need to speak to about that.
Yeah. So I mean, you could check with Rial and Sunfur or Tethaton. I think.
Exactly. So she just like go to her guys and be like, do you know this guy? I think you should probably be.
Yeah. I mean, you can make a case regardless. Tethaton did see them in the battle. Also, they fought in the battle, so Vajra's probably gonna like them.
Approval,
yeah.
Especially about how well he did when like worn with grief and with very little training. I feel like he would have just impressed her.
And no expectation of living.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Karis, you wanted to roll to recognize what Beldis was wearing. Beldis, what do you think is a suitable DC? I'm thinking a religion check.
I think religion check. This goes back to the dwarves of the Crystal Cavern before they left, before they were driven out. So
we'll say like DC 17, DC 18.
Yeah.
I'd feel fair with that. That's fine.
Yeah.
I do not.
Looks old.
Exactly. It looks old. I can probably recognize it as not the most recent of the dwarven stuff. Definitely older. Do I know for certain any time other than before maybe this recent date? No. But I do look curious and intrigued by this sash.
All right. The night falls, with all of you returning to the city. I think Barad stays, and, Barad's gonna do Barad things. Probably be alone with his grief. The other guard doesn't leave, for what it's worth. So, it's not like they're alone and defenseless in the wilderness. Um, but they need some time to process a lot of emotions over the past few days. The next day comes. Is there anything in particular you all would like to do?
Karis is going to meet with Rial and Sunfur
Okay.
and to arrange observing of the creation of the banners and also to make her case for Barad.
Okay. So Sasindra was the one who was going to actually make the banners for you. But you can see both of them. Not hard to do. You head up. I'm assuming Sunfur probably first. Rialan, who's up at the far north, up on the plateau, up in the temple. You head up that way, and Rialan is kind of holding a meeting with several different looks like guard captains. You see your good old friend Vindred. Sorry, it took me a while. Vindred, who hasn't been seen for a while, and several what you assume is the other guard captains, and basically he's just issuing out orders, getting reports from the various parts of the Temple of Kavoth, and then, compiling them and kind of copying them down like a ledger. And he has this kind of big book that looks kind of like what you would assume is a history book or, a ledger. It seems that he is keeping track of everything that is going on in the city since this event. As you kind of approach, he shuts the book, makes a note to push it to the side, and give you his full attention. The other guard captains kind of step aside and give you kind of not a wide berth, but, a respectful distance, as opposed to how you were kind of greeted when you all first came up here. It is.
Oh yeah, like she knows, like, wow, okay. We got 100. She just mentally adjusts what rank she probably thinks they are now in society.
Yeah.
Okay.
Furless one. Come in. Come in.
And she does walk in, giving a little bow of her head to the guard captains and to Riellen. Do excuse me for interrupting. It's not terribly urgent, but it is important that I speak with you on a matter.
I have time. It is
Excellent.
not a problem to speak now. And he kind of motions his hand, and the guards kind of move out of the room.
Cool. So as we were investigating prior to when all of this occurred, we did find below in the basement of Lord Moonclaw's estate one Leonin he had coerced into his service and had slain the mate of in a horrid ritual that would have only increased the dire devastation here. That Leonin we brought with us, and he fought valiantly in the defense of the city. His name was Barad. And he did explain to us that he was once banished from his clan and from the city for reasons that are unclear. But I would think that his service now and his grief and his understanding of the horrible mistakes that were made in the past, that he might be due to be welcomed back, if only to not leave him alone in his grief.
If Rialin recognizes the name, he doesn't make a show of it. That you can notice on his expression. I see. I see. Um, this Barad assisted in the defense of the city, despite being exiled. That is admirable, if, however, motivated for personal reasons rather than loyalty to the city itself. I do not know why he was banished, but if it is at your behest and your desire that he be returned to the Temple of Kavath, then I and my pack would be happy to have him, if he so wishes.
She'd dip her head. I believe the circumstances at hand have convinced him truly the error of his ways previously. And at this point, it would be much better, I think, for him and for all the Leonin here to stand fast together rather than let others drift apart after this tragedy.
I fully agree with your wise words. If you will, do you mind if I ask you some questions?
Not at all.
I am aware that you and your furless companions, and the tall, strange-furred one, fought Ninos and helped Tethaton. Was there anything of note that I should be aware of that happened during the battle?
There was a mirror that Ninos was commanding, a magic mirror. And through it, we could see the Knoll armies and their legions of darkness that they could bring through suddenly onto the field of battle. It also produced strange double images of those who looked within it. One of our party members was briefly distressed when their double came through. I'm not entirely certain the nature of the mirror entirely, but it does seem to be a sort of portaling device. Intensely magical and intensely dangerous, but it was destroyed during that battle.
Rialin kind of brings a claw through his mane, kind of scratches for a second. A mirror, you say? Did the mirror have any runes or any... And he kind of like pulls out that ledger again and starts like scrolling. This looks like the compendium of hundreds of years of knowledge.
Exactly. This is like their entire society's history.
Yeah, and
Got
he
it.
starts going through, and almost towards the beginning of the book, in maybe like the first like 100 pages or so of this 1,000-page volume, he finds a page and starts reading. It is all in Leonin, and he stops. I've only ever heard of these mirrors once. Far long ago, when the Plane of Bones was more than it is now. These mirrors were used to transport and move between the temples. The Loxodon, the Centaurs, the Minotaurs, the Lizard Folk, all who resided here possessed these mirrors, all interconnected between the planes, to step between and travel. When the calamity happened The fires rang from the sky and the magic changed. We thought the mirrors would no longer work, as any who stepped between them was lost.
She has this thoughtful look on her face, like she's like, okay, thought time.
Yeah.
But she's definitely like listening and nodding. It's
Yeah.
like, oh.
As far as I am aware, the Temple of Kavath only has one. It is sealed away. When the battle took place, I myself went into the vaults to protect our holiest and most sacred items with my own honor guard. Understand it was not my first choice or a choice I made lightly. There are items there that we no longer understand.
She just waves a hand. I am not here to judge your actions, nor would I. Such powerful artifacts, whatever they might be in the hands of your enemies, is not something anyone would want, especially in the midst of a battle. It could change the tide completely. But from what you've said, people are lost when they pass through this mirror. I would theorize that they aren't lost so much as displaced into a place that is not here, but almost here. And perhaps a source of corruption. It was dark, it was twisted when we looked inside the mirror, the briefest glance that we got. Like a shadowed existence of this one.
He nods and kind of claps his paws, and you see a Leonin that's wearing clearly wizarding robes, or at least some facsimile of them. And he speaks in Leonin, and they kind of set off. As they're leaving the room, you see two more dressed in almost identical garb join them. I will have our scholars look into this. I am no practitioner myself, but it is worrying if these mirrors do happen to be working once more.
Sorry.
It's okay. I'm
Right.
fixing.
So you're sure that the one within your temple remains there?
I am certain it is still present.
Then this is quite possibly and quite likely to be the one that was kept by the Knolls, presumably.
Presumably.
If they are his allies, then we definitely were able to ascertain that from our investigation prior to the attack. But hopefully the Knolls will not have any way to escape except through perhaps the other mirrors. But they would need to be activated first, I would also assume. I don't know if they could somehow activate them from the place wherever they reside in that strange, twisted place.
Roll me an Arcana check.
Cool.
We'll call this a DC 25.
We'll see. That's a no. That's a 17.
17. It's theoretically possible. Improbable, but possible.
Precisely. And that's what she'd convey from like what she knows is like, theoretically, the magic works. There's always a way. How feasible that is, whether the Gnolls are capable of taking advantage of that fail-safe, whatever it is, improbable. It's generally quite difficult, but that would also, I would keep a close eye on your mirror.
I will make sure to do that. Thank you.
Of course.
And he will go back to writing in the book.
And she'd take that as her cue to leave, and she goes to go about her merry business.
Sounds good.
Possibly to inform Barad of, hey, you want to like place among like the Leonin? The Sunfurs have offered a place in their clan for you.
I think Barad needs time to think about it.
And she'd say, like, absolutely, but speak to Riel and Sunfur with whatever your decision might be. And she'd sort of like excuse herself from his presence to like leave him with his thoughts.
Yeah. Rue, I know you wanted to do something.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm assuming at this point the city's more or less getting back to normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, she would head to Ninos's place and go into the dungeon and clean up that that shrine of what's their face?
The Banyan.
Banyan.
The Lion Lord.
Banyan.
It's Lion dude, Lion guy.
You could call him Aslan, and I wouldn't bat an eye. Literally in the Wiki
Aslan.
page, it's just like Aslan or Navanyan, both work. Weird.
El Baño. El Baño.
El No Baño. So it takes about roughly 3 hours, but you are able to clear all of the paint, reset the incense, really make the shrine presentable, at least, or at least as presentable as can be, so that it is no longer desecrated to the degree it was. It is still missing the gems that were once in its eyes.
I think somebody had some gems.
Maybe, I don't know.
I think at that point, in front of the statue, not too far away, but in front somewhere, she would create use create food and water to make a bunch of food, and it would be like all relatively flammable stuff, like maybe like rose hips and like edible flowers, like corn and like all shit like that. And she'd kind of be like, so we saw someone off the other day, and I wasn't really sure if this would be appropriate at the time, but if it gains any favor for them, this is for you. And she would light that on fire and kind of give that as an offering.
Roll me a religion check with advantage.
Ooh, that's a 10.
10. So, you make your offering to this desecrated or formerly desecrated altar. And after your prayer is done, typically when you have said prayers in the past, you get that warmth in your stomach, that almost like the core of your being, you feel that illumination, that heat, that something more. It is indescribable what faith is and what divine magic is. But for a long moment after you leave your offering, you feel nothing. You feel a absence that is rare. And as you're kind of rising up from where you have seated, you hear a faint roar coming from the statue. It is distant, as if some entity has been torn away from this place, blinded, and almost held captive. But you feel a small ember of acknowledgement of that divine kind of spark. As one of the incenses in the altar room in general that had been left here alights, and a kind of smoke rises. And you swear it almost takes the form of a lion, and then returns just back to that lacy smoke.
She'll kind of smile. She thinks about like trying to roar back, but then she's like, I don't know if that's in poor taste or not, so I'm just gonna go.
And you slip away. On the third day, you receive word, all of you, that Cassandra is ready to show you how to make the banners, and that you are being summoned to her temple. Where Cassandra is, which is probably the only place in town y'all haven't been, really. Cassandra Starmane kind of has almost this Grecian temple, like with the Doric columns of marble and sandstone. And they are kind of bespeckled, so it's almost a mixture of these two stones that are vastly different in make, and it looks like they've been magically melded together to form these columns. And there are several houses on the left or right kind of circling this temple, but the temple is the main kind of repository for this. It is covered in scorch marks and dried blood from the battle a few days prior. Cassandra, as you recall, when you first went to confront Ninos, the Starmane district was doing poorly. A lot of the houses are empty, the doors destroyed. There are a lot of lanterns not lit. You can just get the sense that the Starmane clan, while they survived, did suffer a lot. However, Cassandra greets you, as well as two of her acolytes. They are dressed in these white robes that kind of reach down to their ankles, and they kind of wear sandals made for pawed feet. And she greets you at the entrance to the temple. Come with me. I presume you have the flowers?
Yes.
Wonderful. And she kind of solemnly turns towards you. As she turns, you see that she's missing part of her tail. And, yep. And she kind of leads you into this temple. The kind of, I don't know what they're called, but like the high rise of the temple itself. Steeple. The ceiling kind of looks almost like it is a night sky. At all times during the day, you can see, magical stars and comets above you at all times, and you see, like, the astrological signs rotating with the seasons.
Is this accurate to what it looks like at night in this particular location?
It is.
Like, she looks really, she likes that one. She's like, it's fascinating.
Are we all there?
Yes, you are all there.
Okay. Right.
She would have sent for all of you because that was part of the deal.
So like Maggie has her spectacles on and a notebook out and a pen and is writing all of this down. And so one of the things that she's written is sky accurately reflects night sky of space and time relevant ? Needed for ceremony ?
That's fair.
If Karis like catches a glance of it and like
Sure.
gets the gist of it, she'd be like, it's probably just part of the rituals, generally speaking, but it might be involved.
Okay, I just wasn't sure because I don't understand any of these things, so I'm just writing all of it down, and then we can.
This is absolutely a part of their worship, and they like converse quietly.
Yeah. So she will take the fire flowers from you, or from whoever's going to offer them.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess between what River collected and what I collected, both our personal stashes are somewhere else, but we each have a personal stash in addition to the allotted amount that she requested
Yep.
us to bring her, which I present to her.
Yeah. So she takes the fire bloom and she kind of sets it aside on like this altar. Um, the two acolytes go into a back room and pull out two banners, um, each attached to one of those spears that Lenin had been using. They are simple white with no symbology on it yet. The gilded light doesn't seem to be present currently. And she kind of goes up to the altar and dips her paws in holy water, you presume. And then, cleans it off with a towel. And she begins chanting in Lenin. One of her companions, one of the acolytes, will translate. I'm not going to give you the full verses because I don't have that prepared.
And also,
Maggie like briefly panics until the translation starts, and then starts writing the translation.
yeah, precisely. Karis doesn't go quite as far as Maggie, but her horrifying thing that she calls her spell book is open as she's jotting certain notes. Hers are more like questions for later, to like for clarity's sake. Like, does it matter what the banner is made of, or can it be any sort of blank wood and cloth, or are they prepared particularly, like that sort of thing? But she like holds all of that and she's watching like super intent, like she's trying to take a photograph of what's happening.
Yeah. So then the two acolytes go into the back room, come out with these golden yarn that you have seen in the other ones. It is almost like a rope or what you'd see in like a tassel, but it has a needle towards the front. And the two acolytes set it on an altar, and then Rue, you can roll me a Arcana or a Religion check, or do you know Bless?
You know, bless.
They cast Bless on this, on this
Okay.
rope, and then Karis, I don't think you had the spell. I think I looked, but you are familiar with it. It's like a DC 5 Arcana. You've seen the rope trick spell. It's like a level 1 spell. They use that to control this tassel as it needles its way along the embroidery of the cloth itself to form that golden ridge as the chanting continues. The Sasindra then stops chanting and reaches for the fire bloom. And she takes one stalk and pulls the petals from it as like embers erupt in her hand and are almost self-contained. And she begins to roll her paws around it, like shaping pizza dough or shaping Play-Doh. And soon as it gets into a ball, she casts it up, almost as if just going to toss it and catch it. And you see, instead of catching it up, you see the ceiling change as a sun kind of appears. She grabs a second flower, the same thing, a second sun. Third flower, a third sun, the three suns of Anarion, and their light begins to shine down, almost permeating and forming this almost physical embodiment as it gleams on the center of these banners. Two of the lights are on them. A third light doesn't look like it is being used at the moment. And she begins chanting again, and then walks over to the banners themselves, and she pulls out a needle and plucks one of her paws, and one drop of blood, and as the blood hits the banner, it sizzles and evaporates, and she kind of nods, and then she backs away. She then goes into the back room and comes out with this alabaster handled dagger. Opposite the obsidian dagger you found on Ninos, this is almost a bone white blade. It is short, more like a carving knife than anything. And it looks made all of materials that are like almost one homogeneous type of alabaster. And the only difference is it has a golden kind of pommel that is inscribed with runes. And they seem to glow almost like with permeating sunlight. And she moves to the banner with the spear haft, and she begins to carve runes. And as she drags this blade along it, every rune she carves stays alight and glowing. And she does this from base all the way to the end. And then she pulls the sword away and lifts one of the banners. And she kind of reaches, almost as if she's reaching for the ceiling. And then she releases it, and it floats in air. She grabs a second one, raises it, lets go, and it floats in the air, hung up and controlled by nothing. And she takes a step back. These are yours.
Karis looks appropriately like awed and fascinated by what just happened. And so she does a quick little bow, like, yes, thank you very much for, quite frankly, everything. Small question. That dagger, are there others like it? If, say, hypothetically, opposites of it?
There are many like it. None reside here. One was given to every temple, every holy site of Nabanians. Many of them are forgotten, destroyed, or over null control.
So
Did they all look the same?
Yeah, yeah. On that note, they're a particular relic of Nobanian.
They are a specific relic of Nabanian, yes. These are given to the highest of their priest orders. As far as I'm aware, there are no others like this.
Yeah, so frantic scribbling. She's like sketching this knife. It's like, okay. And I guess on that further question, if hypothetically we were to say there was a obsidian blade that bared a remarkable resemblance to this, but just opposite, could you tell me anything about what it might theoretically be?
She purses her lips, which is hard for a lion person to do, and almost offers like a growl, like a threatening growl, not at you, but at the thought of there being any such daggers in existence. And then she stops and she looks at you and she says, "Do you have such a dagger?" There's a level of like severity to her tone. It is
there
not accusing,
is, and
it is
she's like, there. The hesitancy she sees is more like,
Can I make
if
an
she
insight
even
check?
has a right to
Sure.
say so, because it's technically not hers, but
Sure,
she wants to. There's like if she can read intent, it's Kara's probably wants to tell her about it, but is hesitant on behalf of perhaps something or someone or something else.
Sure. Golaneth, you're rolling insight. What's your insight check?
On Karis, I want to get a feel for her emotions right now. I want to make sure that she's not I don't know how to explain what I want to do without saying what I want to do. But if
Go ahead and type it to, I guess, Graham, like message him somewhere.
Are you worried that she's holding back for ulterior motives?
No, but I don't want her to cross a line that she wouldn't normally cross. Like if she's on the point of defying her own morals, Golaneth would step in.
Okay.
It does look like she's having a small crisis there. She's like, I also don't want, like, she doesn't want Golaneth to be hurt, because this is now like clearly maybe not a good thing to have in one's possession.
Yeah, I will say this, and you know, all of you have a passive insight higher than this. The reason why Sissindra is so concerned, one, she's not sure this is even physically possible. Two, if it is possible, you see there is probably a time associated in which she could potentially save this dagger.
I step
and
forward.
Restore it. And after that time, it is probably corrupted.
I step forward and I pull it out and I just present it to her.
She will hiss at the other acolytes who quickly go into the back room, and kind of you hear rummaging, and they bring out like this golden, almost ambrosia, like basin of it, and she kind of takes this, and you see on her expression a hint of profound loss. This is the look of someone who has watched what is dearest to them and is staring at the results of everything they stand for being destroyed, almost, as she eyes this dagger and rolls it in her palms, and she kind of chants. You see a spell go off. None of you know this spell. And you see the lights of that third sun kind of illuminate on the dagger, and you see from the dagger itself, from that blade, the obsidian, you see a darkness kind of permeate and almost fight that light, almost pushing back into the night sky. And she eyes this with a level of fear. And she grabs the dagger, and the two acolytes bring the ambrosia to her, and she sinks the dagger in it. And you hear... She is still holding onto the palm. You hear the sound of burning as she is struggling to push and keep this blade hilted in this holy fluid, as the two acolytes begin chanting and begin funneling divine magic into this. Is there anything you would do to help or assist? Or
Harris is just watching with sheer fascination because she knows that she can't do anything, and she suddenly was like, thanks to Galaneth, because she's like, we probably didn't want to be carrying that around the way it was.
Are
Just
her
nod
hands...
agreeingly.
The hand that is holding the dagger is burning. It is...
Oh,
you can
smell.
see the fur singeing as this dagger is fighting with a will of its own to prevent itself from being purified by whatever malevolent force or corrupting force has turned this blade, this holy item, against its design.
I'm gonna heal that shit while she's doing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a couple questions.
Sure.
Well, I guess one main question, and then maybe some follow. So, is Galna, was that the dagger that you found on Ninos, or is that the one that we pulled from his house? Because I don't remember who had that. I
mean, I don't remember who has the other dagger,
sure
but there are
has
two of them.
He's
Pretty sure he's got both of them.
Yeah,
he's got both of them.
Yeah.
That's the one that Ninos had.
Okay.
That I took off of Ninos.
Okay. Yeah, so Maggie, your magic, roll me the healing. If you like.
I'm gonna do healing word instead of cure wounds so that I don't have to talk. Or I don't have to touch her.
Yeah.
While she's doing this. So I'm gonna do that at second level and also look askance at my dog while they do it. 9.
9.
Rue
Okay.
would bless them.
Okay. All right. Their hand is healed. Maggie, you see your magic heal. You have felt and cast a spell several times. This is the first time that something, as you heal it, it doesn't have the same effectiveness. This, whatever is happening, is not only damaging but also preventing any regeneration or any ability to recover, or at least it is trying to injure this person and wound them on not only a physical level, but it is trying to damage her on a spiritual level. And the manifestation is that magic is just not affecting her how it should. Something is actively preventing... Yes, Karis.
I counterspell the dagger?
You can try. I'm not going to tell you no.
She's going to try to counter... When she sees this interaction happening, she theorizes that maybe it's an effect that she can counter somehow.
Okay.
Since it seems to be actively working, so she's going to attempt to counterspell on the dagger.
Okay. Your spell goes off. Nothing changes.
Okay. She's like, well, that's all I got, man.
I think Maggie is fed up with feeling helpless and is actually going to step forward and touch her and try cure wounds.
All right.
Despite me knowing that it's not going to work.
I mean, it's not that it's not working. I will say that. It is, if we're going to talk mechanics, it's like the wounded effect. Like a dagger of wounding, which is basically you can't regain HP, or the way this dagger works is healing is halved.
Right. Okay. So then she's gonna cast Cure Wounds at level 2. Now she's standing and touching.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, Adam. I think I interrupted you. I apologize.
No, I mean, you said it was. It looked like their hand was burning, but
Yes.
is it fire damage or is it some other type of damage?
It is necrotic if we want to talk mechanical.
Okay, well, if we're talking mechanical, Rue's gonna go ahead and pop Aura of Life, and everyone in the 30-foot radius has resistance to necrotic damage, and their maximum hit points can't be taken down.
Sure. Rue, will you roll me? You know, I think it's time we have a heroic moment. Rue, will you roll me a flat d20 plus your religion score? And no crits or advantages can be used on this. You don't have to, though, if you do not want. I will say this: if you fail, something terrible may happen to Sasindra or this dagger or Maggie. If you succeed, you may completely save and stop this from happening, or alleviate some of the damage.
Do it.
Yeah, we're gonna
It's
roll.
another-
I mean,
cool. This is your moment to be like the coolest.
Just in case it matters, it's another 9 points on a level 1 Cure Wounds
Okay.
to her.
That does
As
lower
this
the
is happening.
DC.
Okay.
all right, that's not terrible. 14.
14. Add 1d4 to that. As if you have a
Done.
bless cast on you from maybe helping Nabanion's altar earlier.
17.
17. Okay. Rue, you feel that ember within you from earlier. And it begins to kind of swelter, this boiling hot. It is almost like a rage. That is just this anger, this absolute detestment of what this dagger is. As your gaze is locked on it, you cannot turn your gaze away from this dagger. As if some... Oh, hey, guys! Welcome, Raiders! As this dagger... You are almost a proxy right now, and you feel this essence kind of funnel into you, and kind of fuel your hands, and you reach out. Without even knowing, or without even willing it, your small hands reach out to where Sasindra is grabbing this dagger, trying to push this corrupted dagger into the ambrosia. Your hands clasp, and you feel a force of strength behind your grip that you have never known. You can hear and smell and feel the damage, but as soon as that pain, like, receptors go off, it is fueled out, and it is kind of pushed as your hands instantly heal. And inch by inch by inch, you funnel this dagger into the ambrosia, and the slick black obsidian on the blade begins to crack and wisp, and you see smoke rising from the ambrosia as it begins to boil. And suddenly, there is a burst of light from that third sun as it pushes the darkness that was funneling off the dagger fighting it, and it shines on this ambrosia. A gold, like a harvest wheat gold, shines out from it for a brief moment as this dagger is purified.
I think this is when Rue lets out the roar that she wanted to do earlier.
And yeah, then, you know, your hands fall away and you feel that ember just, it is gone. It has left. Your hands are fine, except you have one mark upon your hand, looking like a moon.
Ooh. Holy shit. Did I...
You did it!
Anybody-
Grace will like jump with her. Like, look at what you did!
That was amazing.
By the painter, I didn't see that coming.
Go team, and then
Yeah, high five.
she'll go...
Absolutely,
get, like-
they're high fives.
Maggie, like, misses the first one and then, like, comes back and does it again, but, like, just a little too hard. and then like does finger guns instead.
Love it.
You like completely spin her Rue around, but then she comes back with the finger guns.
Yeah, there you go.
I go for the high five and take her ring. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Just kidding.
Sindra stumbles back, now holding the stagger, and she sets it on the altar. It is once more that alabaster white engraved with gold.
Oh, cool.
And that's where we're going to end the session.
Quick question. Do we have 2 of those?
Yup!
Yeah.
Yup!
Wait.
I love how we're going to be like, it's so great. You did the first one. We also have another one.
Yeah, you could just redo.
Please do that again.
Take 2. Second time's the charm.
Right? God.
This one should be easier, right?
Right? Like,
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Now
Rose is
that
all
they know-
warmed up. It's go simpler this way, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
God.
unlike most people, this is not a one and done. There's 2 daggers.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, after you.
Really quick, just because I'm afraid that I'm going to forget after 2 sessions. Can we find out if that staff is magical? And what it does
So
in those
I
3
will.
days?
I will in the Discord chat,
Okay,
anything you guys
cool.
want identified, just message me and say, hey, these are the things
Cool.
we want to identify. It's going to take 10 minutes. Do you have the pearl?
I have
do,
some.
yeah.
It wouldn't be me to do it. Yeah.
So you can identify those. I will give you the details on whether they are magical or not, and we can join in 2 weeks. But, I would be amiss. I'm going to miss you guys for 2 weeks. So, why don't you tell our lovely, lovely audience who you are, what you do, and where people can find you. I'll go last because, I'm the boss here, so I can.
Hey everybody, it's me, Kari. I played Karis, the War Wizard Tiefling, and I am also here all the time, forever, on Fridays in the Goldshine Investigations, playing Israel, the Fey Pact Warlock. And then, of course, I'm here. I'm here with all of these lovely people, and perhaps maybe sometime in the future appearing sometimes on Shards of Anarion. Who knows? We'll have some fun tradesies eventually, but those are on Tuesdays. So both of those, if you want to come and catch them for the chance of seeing my beautiful face, that's Tuesdays at 7:30 for Anarion's Rest, and I think at 8 for Shards of Anarion, but always Tuesdays. So look out for me there. You cannot find me anywhere else. It's very sad. You might, if you're very, very lucky, see me in Guild Wars 2 as we prepare for the next expansion on Mondays with Graham when I feel like it. So you might see me there. But that's it. That's all the places.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Confounded, better known as Con, playing Galneth Laranonal, your Elven Rogue. And you can find me here. Otherwise, I'm on the Twitters at TheConfounded.
Hi, I'm Mare. I'm currently petting Fizzle. You can find me at Marefeather's Twitch channel, and I think there's a Twitter account. I'm not too sure. It's time. It's late. I'm
I'll put
tired.
the Twitter. Yeah, I got you. My bad. I'll put all your links in there for the lovely
Perform
chats.
score 30.
Flawless.
Yeah.
That was
Wonderful. There you go, chat. Don't say I never give you anything.
Otherwise, well, after that fantastic one, hi, I'm Bob. Also, Cyclor One Eye. You can find me here Tuesdays. We're going to see how the schedule goes forward because it's going to get different. Otherwise, I occasionally decide to turn on my own channel, Cycler One Eye, where I paint small things and babble. That's about it. Stay hydrated. Put on sunscreen. Change your socks.
Never.
I can go. I'm Jen. You can find me on Twitter at Quixote Jen. I do a lot of talking about RPGs, but also cancer survivorship and disability rights. And you can find me on Sundays for the next 5 Sundays on Ava's channel that I want to call Eva Sarate, but it's not. It's Eviscerate, which is the coolest pun, and I love it so much. EVASERRATE. Come see us in Monster Hearts 2, Summer Camp Edition. It's at 1:30 Pacific time until 4:30 Pacific time, and I'm just so happy. It's just so, the cast is so sweet. I don't know how to put it. It's sweet melodrama with spookiness. So feel free to come join us.
I just want to say, yay, Monster Hearts. I am Adam, Adamus Lamas everywhere on the internet. I think next time I'm streaming again probably is next Tuesday here. And then Thursday, we're coming back for the Inspectors on Gilding Light. Much like Bob, I will be streaming on my own channel, Adamus Lamas. You'll probably see me just cursing the gods for unfortunate things that happen in video games, to me specifically.
You know what I realized? All of that wasn't on the Twitch. So here we go again, round one. My name is Graham or Graham Crackers. Thank you for tuning in. I see a lot of new faces in the chat today. Thank you for tuning in. It is honestly wonderful to see you all stay around. Because we had a blast. You can find me every Tuesday, Monday, or Friday on the channel, where on Tuesdays I DM Shards of Anarion and Anarion's Rest. On Fridays I play Geharis Nervos, your favorite Tiefling Paladin, Oath of Conquest. On Mondays I play Guild Wars 2 with a bunch of friends that I suckered in over years, whispering my evil words to coerce them into playing an MMO with me that I deeply and dearly love and care about. Outside of that, you find me on a variety of internet channels, ranging from Friends Who Roll Dice to Eviscerate to Polished Cryptid to everywhere, the Games Tavern. But, mostly you can find me on Twitter, where I'll say I love you and that I care about you, at GrahamCrackers1, which is in the chat. Which is not in the chat, but it's on my channel. You can find it. Don't be lazy. But, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you have all your dreams come true, and we will see you soon. So until then, stay happy, stay healthy, and we'll see you soon. We are not going to raid anyone because I was too lazy. I know, I'm sorry I told you all not to be lazy and that I completely counteracted, but you know what they say, irony is a dish best served.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah. Have a wonderful one, everyone.
Irony is a dish best